What a game yesterday, folks. Another loss for Colorado University, Colorado Buffs, the Coach Prime experience. Let me ask you guys a question. Did you guys see a difference with the change of play caller from Sean Lewis to Pat Schumer? Was there a difference? I'm waiting. Answer the question. Was there a difference? Exactly. There was no difference. I couldn't tell if it was still Sean Lewis calling the plays or if it was Pat Schumer calling the plays. There was no difference. You know why there's no difference? There's one common denominator on the team, Coach Prime. There's no difference because it's not about play calling. It's about being pass heavy. It's about the notion or a misnomer that you could come to a team that you're trying to rebuild and just insert excellence at the onset. Your D-line and offensive line are truly the blueprint, the markers, the foundational pillars of any great program. I'll give you an example. If you tell me to rate the quarterback between Georgia, because Georgia, they're like ranked number 2 right now. I think 2 or 3, I believe. Number 2, I believe. If I asked you who was the better quarterback out of the Georgia quarterback and Shador, I would say Shador hands down. But the difference is Georgia has monsters on the D-line and offensive line. Every good program, that's the foundational pillar. You don't build outside in terms of you don't build getting skilled players on the outside and then work your way from the outside in. It's like an engine of a car. The engine is the most important part of the vehicle, no matter how beautiful the outside of the car is. No matter how great the leather interior is, no matter how great the cabin looks or the trunk space is, the center of a vehicle or any engine or any motor is the engine that hides beneath the car. It doesn't get a lot of the glory because everybody's just looking at the external. A football team, when you are examining a football team, the guys up front, the D linemen and the offensive linemen, they don't get many of the glory. You know who gets the glory? The QB, the wide receivers, the running backs. Those are the sexy positions on the outside. You can find 1,000,001 of those. Well, it's hard to find great quarterbacks, but you can find fast receivers. They come a dime a dozen. They're everywhere, okay? So Coach Prime comes to Colorado thinking that it's going to be easy. He said it. I got my Louis luggage. He thought he was set. You're not set, Coach Prime. The offensive lineman still needs work. And your D-line is decent. The defense is okay. But because you are rebuilding and you really don't have a stout offensive line, you cannot be pass heavy. You have to be humble and run the ball. You're not going to come in with a high-powered offense putting up 30-plus points a game. And after the season, those numbers are going to average out. Colorado's going to end up dropping to be like a 20-something points per game team. I think the first couple of games of the season blew everybody away because no one really knew what Colorado was going to be like. And the opponents didn't really know. But now there's tape out on Colorado. You guys are very predictable. You guys did nothing different with Pat Schumer. So I don't even know why you guys made that announcement that you guys were changing the offensive coordinator as if the offensive philosophy was going to change. Nothing's going to change as long as Coach Prime is at the helm. Let me give you guys an example. Because many of you guys are saying that Prime is not a micromanager, that he lets the offensive coordinators and the other coaches do what they need to do. That's not necessarily true. Because at halftime, when the reporter was asking him a question about the play calling, the decision making into running pass plays pinned deep down in your territory, he says it's on me. It's on me. He's saying somebody should have caught the ball, but it's on him. It's Coach Prime's philosophy, guys. You guys are not getting it. Remember, he said, if you remember in the past, he made a statement. He said that when they had went to overtime with Colorado State, I believe, I don't know who, I think it was Colorado State. He said, oh yeah, I always like to get the ball first in overtime because I know I'm gonna put pressure on them. I know what my son's gonna do. Oh, we're pinned deep in our territory. Now we have time. My son Shador, I believe in him. Remember, the motto of this year is believe, believe, believe. So his belief in his son's ability and his bias towards his son and the nepotism that comes as a result of that is what's clouding the judgment of a coach who knows better. Forget me. If you think I'm hating, listen to what the commentators said. They were scratching their heads. They're like, hold on. Why is he running? Why is he passing the ball? Like, why are they passing? Why are they passing? What is coach now going to throw Pat Schumer under the bus and say it was Pat Schumer's fault? He can't do Sean Lewis because Sean Lewis is demoted. Guys, get it through your heads. It's Coach Prime's fault. It's Coach Prime's philosophy. Again, he's not the architect of the plays, but he's the one giving the direction of what he wants to happen. He's the one that said, let's push the ball at halftime with about a minute and some change left. It was his fault. He even put it on himself. So I don't even know why you apologists or keep defending Coach Prime. It's him. It's his personality. Before I end this video, I'm going to read a comment by one of the commenters that made a comment on my page. His name, he goes by the screen name of @BlueInGreen. @BlueInGreen. All right. He said something very profound to me. It spoke to my soul. And he said it better than I could. All right. This is what he said. I'm going to read it. He says, this was a perfect storm for a train wreck. His personality type, meaning Coach Prime's personality type, Coach Prime's personality type doesn't match the Colorado University community. He is a narcissist of the most boastful and grandiose type. He's always been a boastful guy. That kind of personality is fine for a player, but it doesn't work as well for a coach or someone in leadership in other types of positions. In many cases, it can be a disaster. He came in making promises that shouldn't have not been made, or setting expectations that should not have been set in year one of a rebuild. This isn't the type of football program that just needed a few pieces to be complete. The team needs a major rebuild. It doesn't even have the foundation of a solid football program, and that foundation is the defensive and offensive lines. It would take a couple of recruiting years to build Colorado University to a competitor. Sanders, Coach Prime, should have taken the job and set the expectations low for the first year. He should have quietly set out to rebuild the team, but he's always been an entertainer. Like you mentioned, when he says "like you," he's talking about me because he's commenting on my page. He said on my channel, he says, like you mentioned, it's more about building his brand. He can't help himself. The offensive line is atrocious. Colorado University has a mix of FBS, FCS, Division II, and NAIA level players. They all aren't at the top standard for NCAA Division I. This is why they look so overmatched when playing top teams. Even teams like Stanford that are traditionally good programs that aren't good right now, they are still overmatched. Colorado University is extremely undersized and outskilled on the lines. And I mentioned weeks ago, there's too much focus on social media and having cameras everywhere. It is a reality show. There seems to be more focus on that than on perfecting the game. Bravo. Well stated @BlueInGreen. That's what I'll leave you guys with. People that are saying these things aren't hating on Prime, folks. These people are being objective and calling it as they see it. Do not allow your emotions to cloud your judgment. But just do know, as I predicted, if they continue to do the same thing as they've been doing, which is what they've been doing, passing, they're going to continue to lose. They're going to lose out. And I'm going to say this. The way Shedeur looks, he's still gifted. He's still a good player. But the amount of beating, the amount of hits that he's taken this year, it's taken a toll on his performance. He's not playing with the same confidence as he did. Now, of course, toward the end of the game, they made a little run, but it's too late. They always do that. But when you've been beat up for the first 3.5 quarters, or 3.5 quarters, 3 quarters and going into the fourth quarter, I mean, it takes its toll on you. So it's having an effect on him. And I remember when he left during the end of the third quarter, I believe, and he went back to the locker room. You know what he went back there for, right? Oh, he didn't go back there for a massage. He went back there to get another painkiller injection. Prime, be careful. You don't want your son to get addicted to painkillers. It happens to athletes who take it too much. I also made a comment, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't probably like it. I said that he should have just pulled Shedeur. Just sat him down. Not because Shedeur was playing horrible, just he's limping, he's in pain. He's not going to get better as the season progresses. I don't care how much rest time you give him. In that game, the game was out of reach. And I know you guys always think they're going to come back and win. No, it wasn't happening, because even if they scored, as they did, I knew Oregon State would get the ball. And because Oregon State has a very good stop running game, I knew they would eat the clock up. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, that's exactly what happened. I didn't see a difference with the offensive scheme. There were times where they ran the ball and got offensive, they got a positive yardage. They didn't stick to it. I always wanted them to run first to put them in manageable third downs, but then it'll be sometimes Shador would go back and get sacked and lose 10 yards. And of course, everybody's going to point the blame on the offensive line. Rightfully so. We understand, as I've said millions of times, the offensive line is not as great as it should be, but it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. They're trying their best, but you can't continue to run pass plays. And as the commentators were saying, that the analysts, they were saying they don't see any difference. They don't see any tight ends being put into chip block, no extra protection for Shador. It's the same thing. That speaks to arrogance from a coach who believes so much in his son that he's not willing to humble himself and change his offensive philosophy. At Blue and Green said it. When you have a guy that's full of himself like Coach Prime, and which is nothing wrong with that because we have many athletes that are like that, and that kind of edge is what makes them great. And we love that about certain athletes. They have an inexplicable amount of confidence no matter what. They believe in themselves no matter what, and they need that. But sometimes when you take that type of personality into coaching, it clouds judgment. Because it's not you out there that's playing Coach Prime. You are coaching other people that are not you. They don't have your ability. They don't have the type of drive you had. You can try to instill that in them and motivate that in them, but they're still not you. And even Shador, he's your son, he's still not you. So there's a degree of humility that says, you know what, guys, scrap this. We have to change our whole philosophy until I get the quote-unquote dogs that I need. At Blue and Green said it. It takes a couple of years of recruiting to rebuild. You're not going to come in, I don't give a damn how much Louis luggage you brought with you. The offensive line and the defensive line. The defensive line is okay. They could get better, but those two parts of the team are what needs to be worked on the most. As I said, the D-line and offensive line are the engines of a team. Without the engine, the car is going nowhere. As good as Shador looks, as good as Xavier Weaver looks, as great as Dylan Edwards is with his speed. And another thing with Dylan Edwards, why the hell did they keep running him down the middle? He should be on the slot. I never understood that. But anyway, what do I know? I'm not a coach, so Coach Prime knows better than me, so I'm not going to say anything. But Travis Hunter looked good, but if the engine isn't functioning correctly, that car is going nowhere. It's going to just sit in the garage and collect dust. And right now, Colorado University are collecting dust, and they will lose out. This is going to be an humbling experience for both Prime and the coaching staff and Shador. And don't think that next year, because they're getting a couple of offensive linemen, great recruits, that everything's going to change. It takes time, folks. It takes time. It takes time. And it takes a degree of humility coming upon the coach to see that, hey, I may have been in and over my head a little bit. Maybe my expectations were too high. And even if my expectations were high, I should have kept it to myself. Because when you put your expectations out there, then people are going to come back and criticize you because you're not living up to the expectations that you set. Yeah, we get it. You said you didn't outright say you're going to come in and win a national championship. You didn't say that, but you came in thinking you were going to win this year. Colorado University won one game last year. You've won 3 games more than they've won last year. So that's an improvement. That's humility. Take that as progress, Prime. But you will lose out. You will lose out because your team is doing nothing different. And all of college football has figured you out. You're playing against chess players now. You're not playing checkers in an HBCU division where the talent is not that great, where you can have a great quarterback like your son that can, and a couple of great wide receivers and great skill players and thrive there. When you come to the Power 5 conferences, aka term power, the power resides on the offensive lines and the defensive lines. That's where the engine roars the most. Again, if you asked me, what quarterback would I take out of Shador and the quarterback of Georgia, or even the quarterback for Ohio State, or even the quarterback for Michigan? I would take Shador every day. I would take Shador every day. He's a better quarterback than those guys. But the difference is that those teams that I mentioned, like the Michigans and Ohio States and the Georgias, they have dogs in the middle. The offensive line and the defensive line are the engines to those Power 5, to those power schools. Simple and plain. That's the difference. Everyone has skilled players. Every athlete in college football, everyone's fast on the outside. Now, you have some that are just above the average. You know, Marvin Harrison Jr. is 6'4", speed. I mean, he's going to be drafted number 1. He may go number 1 overall. But the point I'm making is that it's easy to find the skilled players. It's much harder to find those engines, the good engine to make that car run. And right now, Colorado's a car that's just stuck in the driveway. It's not moving anywhere. They're going to lose out. So when it happens, I don't want you guys to be upset. Just get your mind prepared now that they're going to lose out, because nothing has changed. Pat Schumer comes in, the same damn thing happens. The only common denominator, as I said before, is Coach Prime. So it's not the offensive coordinator's fault. And as the season rolls on, you guys will see that it's Coach Prime. You guys will actually come back and say, you know what, I thought it was the coaches. I thought that the people were coming in as plants. You know, Coach Sean Lewis is a plant. He's trying to sabotage Coach Prime. He's a plant. Okay, if he's a plant, is Pat Schumer a plant too? Because the same damn thing happened yesterday. I didn't see anything different. When will you guys get this delusional concept out of your mind that he has plants on his team? He picked those guys. He chose them. They didn't choose him. He went out and sought those guys. All right, take care, man. Till I come out again with another video. Again, at Blue and Green, thank you for your contribution to my channel, and thank you for that comment. It really spoke to me. All right, leave a comment below. Tell me what you guys think about what you saw yesterday, because I didn't see a difference at all. I didn't see anything different. It was like Coach Lewis was still the offensive coordinator. I didn't see anything different. All right, take care.